Alright, it's the dawn of September 25th, 2012, or the moon Awakatsikitsum, in the 40th year of my life. Woke up this morning and decided that it's going to be quit smoking day for me. I've been smoking commercial cigarettes for about half of my life now, since I was 18, with little exception of a year here or there. And this year, turning 40, I decided to make a number of changes in my life. I've decided to put some things into action that I consider to be important. Things like I've stopped participating as a customer in supporting a lot of industries that I don't agree with, like fast food, candy, pop, these kind of things. I've started recycling, reusing, reducing my impact on the environment. I've begun incorporating a lot more of the food of the natural abundance into my diet. Garden this year. I stopped accepting lots of the junk plastic that comes with the things that we buy. Like, I no longer take plastic bags from the store. I no longer drink any fluid that's packaged in a plastic bottle, that kind of thing. And there's a lot more, there's a lot more changes I want to make. I started back up martial arts training, and after an 8-year reprieve, started exercising in general again. And yeah, there's a lot more that I want to change, but one of the real big obstacles that I think, if I just get this one out of the way, everything else is a breeze, is the smoking. Because the smoking, I think, is the one thing that makes me feel like the biggest fraud overall. With the smoking, I can't really say that I care about my body. If I did, I wouldn't be smoking. With the smoking, I can't really say that I have, that I live in a disciplined way, that I'm in control of my actions, because I'm living with a massive addiction. So the smoking's got to go, and I've been putting it off. And this morning, I woke up and I just decided, well, there's no tomorrow. It's time to put it away. I'm a grown man now. It's enough of this stuff. Picked up smoking 18 because it was the cool thing to do, and I've carried that this long. It's disrespectful to my parents, who don't smoke, who didn't raise me with it, for me to just care so little about the life that they've given me that I'm gonna continue to poison myself with it. It's disrespectful to my grandmother, my paternal grandmother, who I watched die. Pretty terrible, painful death of lung cancer from smoking. And it's disrespectful to myself and my own, mind, to continue to allow an addiction to control any of my actions. So yeah, I'm looking forward to not having that anymore, putting that away, moving on to the next phase of this project, which I've been enjoying and I'm going to continue. this project of really being the person that I want to be. You know, it's time for that. So I thought I'd record a quit smoking journal, because I know there's a lot of people out there who smoke for a good portion of their life and want to quit but just won't let themselves quit. So I'm going to show you just how easy and how hard it is, and then record what I experience. And once I get through 4 days to a week, I think it's pretty much a done deal. So that's what I'm gonna do. Alright, so far so good. Made it no problem through my morning workout at the park, breakfast, my drive, an hour across the prairie to the office. Now I've been here half the day. I've already had lunch. It's only a couple hours of work left, and so far really, it's been pretty easy. I mean, I do got some cravings and stuff, but it's nothing that I can't deal with. I prepared for the worst. If worst comes to worst, then I've got these nicotine lozenges and nicotine gum, and chew those and suck on those, whatever, so I'm not smoking. I mean, that's the main thing, is to quit that. But I think part of the reason I'm not having, and I haven't used any of these things yet, I haven't needed any, I'm just going to save those for the worst case scenario. I think part of the reason I'm doing alright so far is that I basically settled the decision in my mind. Like, it's already done. It started, at dawn this morning. I was no longer a smoker. It's already done in my mind. I already took my, gave away my cigarettes, so I don't have any. I've tried to quit before where I thought, well, I needed a safety pack. I need a pack with me just for comfort's sake and all that. That's, it's not the way you give up something. You give it up, you just give it up. It's done. I think when it comes to this kind of stuff, when it comes to not just addictions, but there's a lot of different kinds of changes you can make that involve willpower, that involve self-discipline, that involve these kinds of, mind over matter, or even just mind over mind. And when it comes to those things, the outcome is already decided right at the start. I mean, you already decide the outcome. So you can go through the exercise of, futility when you're say you're trying to do something, or you can just tell yourself it's already done, and you just live that change, and it's finished, it's done. I mean, when it comes to stuff like this, it's not, people talk about physiological addiction and stuff, and yeah, sure, there's physiological addiction, but it's a simple physical behavior that feeds that physiological addiction. So if you stop that simple behavior, and it's nothing that you have to practice at, you can just stop right now. You can just stop and not do it anymore. Then then the physiological thing quickly goes away. I notice, right now, like I've been here at the office for a little while, and my mind is not entirely in my work. I'm, distracted a little bit mentally, and I've had a little bit more energy this morning than I'm used to. Right now I'm kind of crashing, like I feel like I just need to lay down and take a nap and go to sleep or something, because I just overate for lunch. I have been eating quite a bit, but in any case, you know, so far so good. Halfway through day one, and see what happens next. But you know, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, it's already a done deal. All right, so still on day one. It's evening time now. About maybe 5 hours have passed since my last little video clip, and I gotta admit, at this point, it's pretty hard. It's pretty tough. The urges to smoke, the kind of prompts to have a cigarette have been more and more frequent, and my mind started to play games with me, like started to rationalize, you know, hey, it'd be okay to, you know, maybe smoke once in a while, you know, now and then. What it really means is, like, you know, like right now. And so my afternoon, you know, last few hours has not been pleasant in terms of the little you know, the mental thing that's going on with the urges to smoke, and you feel like it's never going to go away or something like this, but it's going to ride it out, because this is what's to be expected. You know, you gotta addictions are weird things, you know, something like this. So I gotta let myself, you know, move through the detox thing. And yeah, of course my body's gonna be telling me go ahead and have one, but the real basic rule is just don't do it, right? Because the cigarette can't jump in your mouth by itself, so just don't do it. And we'll see how long it takes to make this, you know, this feeling of want and desire and this kind of thing. We'll see how long it takes to make it go away. But yeah, we're just in day one, evening, not pleasant. Yeah, so at the end of the day, it's on day one. It's close to midnight now, and I was falling asleep in my chair. I think I'll go to bed. Right now, the urges just really aren't there. The kind of like strong urges that were there earlier this evening. There's still some little urges there, and there's still kind of like a thing going on in my mind where my mind is trying to convince me that this is just short term, that just have to last so long, and then we can have a smoke. But of course we cannot have a smoke. That's just absolutely no. So at some point my mind has to come to grips with that no, we cannot have a smoke at some point. It's like, it's over. There's a gap. I noticed there's a good gap that's left behind when you quit smoking. If you smoke 20 cigarettes a day, which I think I did, probably I smoked more than 20 some days, but 20 cigarettes a day at, say, 8 minutes cigarette, that's 160 minutes out of the day. That's close to 3 hours
day that you don't have occupied anymore by that cigarette. That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. So I think one of the things is finding some better stuff to occupy that time. You know, some healthier stuff, some stuff that's better for development or better for your relationships, something like that. So that's, you know, something I'll be working on. Although I guess it's not, you know, a lot of times I was multitasking, so I was driving and smoking at the same time. But at home, I'd really just go outside and sit and have a cigarette. So, and yeah, so end of day one, survived. Not really a big deal. I was having a hard time in the evening, around dinner time, that kind of thing. Went to the karate dojo and just kind of like put it all out of my mind. Came home, ate, actually. My dinner didn't come till afterwards, really. Where I was having the problem was during everybody else's dinner time. So came home, ate, soaked in the tub a little bit, and kind of like passing out in the living room on my chair. And yeah, it's manageable. It's something that I think anybody can do. It's a matter of willpower. It's a matter of just putting your commitment to it, like anything else. And say, this is what I'm committed to, this is what I'm going to do, well, then you do it. So that's what's going on, and I'll see how day 2 goes tomorrow. Alright, so we made it to day 2, and I'm already been up a couple of hours. I woke up well before dawn, and I just couldn't sleep anymore. I have a lot of energy. I was excited to get going with day 2. Basically, I got a lot of confidence. I know if I could do one day, I could do another, and this day won't be as hard as the first, and the third day won't be as hard as the second, and so on. So I'm woke up pretty boosted to get rolling with it. And not too long after I woke up, of course, I started having urges, because normally I have a smoke and, you know, something to drink right away, like coffee or something when I wake up. So yeah, so I did have some urges, had to fight those. No big deal. It's not a big deal. It's really not. Make more of it than it really is. It's all just a matter of whether you want to not smoke or you want to smoke, really. Whether you're actually ready to give it up or not. I think that's what it comes down to, and I'm ready to give it up. Gave it up yesterday. It's already done deal. So decided to take a run and do some creative stuff with my run. You know, it wasn't just run, but do some creative cardio, like free running, parkour type of stuff, jumping walls and climbing around in fences and blah blah. But you know, I have absolutely no technique at it, so sure, it's like, you know, sloppy and terrible and awkward and everything, but it, you know, helped me expend some of the extra energy that I had. And now I'm gonna wake up my wife, go to the park, and feed all the birds in our neighborhood that enjoy us. So yeah, I'm feeling good. Day 2, I'm sure it's gonna have its obstacles, but right now, feeling just fine, ready to take it on.
Alright, so sun is going down on day 2, and I'm hanging in there. It's not like a real cliffhanger or anything. Hanging in there in a really secure kind of a way. Not at all worried about failure, and I'm still having a lot of urges to smoke, but all I've got to, it's really just habitual stuff. What I'm finding is today is the second day is easier than the first day, but the second day there's still a lot of prompts that bring up habitual stuff, like certain times when you'll always turn to having that cigarette, and I'll even check for it. Like I'll pat my leg where I often have my pack of smokes in a cargo pocket. I'll head in the direction of where I'm gonna go, smoke and that kind of thing. Gotta catch myself, and so that really this kind of like a little absence, that was the same kind of absence I was talking about last night, that I have to fill with other things. A good part of your day as a smoker is spent, poisoning yourself. So there's other things to do. Doesn't mean you can't go outside and enjoy sitting outside for 10 minutes or whatever. Had my first kind of experiences today of somebody asked me for a cigarette, somebody offered me a cigarette, and both today and yesterday, my wife several times, she smoked right in front of me, and that's to be expected. Everybody's gonna carry out their life, carry out their thing, regardless of what you're doing, and you got to do your thing regardless of what they're doing. So you don't have to stay away from these people, you don't have to shun them, you don't have to act like you're better than anybody else and doing something that's whatever. But if you're quitting smoking or quitting any kind of negative habit, or you're picking up a positive habit, it doesn't have to be quitting anything, but you're just making a change, something you see that's really needed, and it's a tough change because it involves transforming habits, really deeply ingrained habits, and possibly involves the chemical changes in your body and in your brain. I mean, that's where it gets tough. That's why quitting cigarettes is tough, because it involves making some significant chemical changes in your brain and your body, and that's those chemicals are poisoning you at the same time they are stimulating you in certain ways, and so you end up craving to repeat the experience for the stimulation side. You don't really like the poison side, but you like the stimulation side, so you want to repeat it for the stimulation side, and you have to take the poison along with it. So, anyway, whether it's to that extreme or not, any change you're making in your life, just make it, and you don't have to pass judgments on other people and that kind of a thing. And you don't have to go along with those other people and that kind of a thing. You can just be yourself and do what you're doing and be happy about what you're doing. So, Day 2 is still pretty tough, and we'll see how day 3 comes. The sun has gone down on day 2 now, and it's just kind of like, this is like the beginning of dusk time, and so probably got about another 5 hours before I'm in bed. I go to bed pretty late, but I know I'm not going to smoke between now and then, so it's not going to be any need for any further reporting until tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm curious to see, how strong the psychic urges and that kind of stuff are. I think I'm going to keep on recording until, I'm going to go like this through probably day 4, kind of as much of a play-by-play as I can. I'm sorry it hasn't been too much of a play-by-play, because really the play is the same throughout. You have to, in your mind, commit yourself already. It's a done deal. That's not you anymore, and you're doing something different. And then you just live that out. And of course, with the things that involve chemicals like this does, that attack you with chemical dependencies, you just have to hold your own and say, no, that's not me anymore, right? And it's tough. It is tough, but at the same time, nothing can do it but yourself. I bought those Nicorette gums and lozenges, those things. I've kept them with me for like the safety's sake. If I absolutely can't control myself, that's what I'll do. I'll eat one of those, put some nicotine in me so that the chemical thing is at least taken care of. I would suggest having that on hand if you're going through it. But at the same time, you need to face up to the chemical demon as well. And so I haven't used them yet, and I'm glad I have them there for that safety net if I felt like for some reason I absolutely couldn't control myself, which is really ridiculous, because if that's the case, then you've already lost, and that's a decision that you make from before the very beginning. When you're ready to begin this, you make the decision that it's done. That's why I haven't needed those. That's why, despite the fact that I continue to feel like I would really enjoy the chemical, the release from the chemical strain that would come with the cigarette, not going to allow it. So that decision has to be made up front. If you make that decision up front and you stick with that decision, that's all there really is to quitting, as far as I can tell. And I'm gonna prove it, right? So tomorrow we're gonna see how strong it is. I think it's gonna be less torturous than today was. And today wasn't all that torturous, really. It'll be less than today. I think the day after that'll be less than that. I feel like I'm gonna cover it about like I have been for maybe 4 days or so, and then I might touch back on it on the 7th day or so, see if there's anything lingering. I'm sure there probably will be, but it'll be very weak. And when I'm just not feeling any of those urges again, that's when I'll kind of call it a wrap and say this, it's done. Because if I feel like if I'm out of danger, it's going to be because
There's just no urges anymore. It's not, you know, and I know that there's, because I've gone through it before, I know that it's not that there's absolutely zero urges, but when the urges aren't so strong that they're like visiting you every hour, compelling you every day, and that kind of thing, when there's days you can go through and you don't think about it at all, then you're in the good zone. And that's what I'm looking forward to. But you know, I will prove that this is something that can be done. It can be done unassisted. You don't need groups. You don't need therapists. You don't need helpers. You don't need drugs. You don't need anything. All those things, all those little secondary things, are going to get in your way. What you need to do is you need to make a decision. This is what I'm going to do, and you need to stick to it. That's all it is. You're just not going to put one in your mouth. You're just not going to put that thing in your mouth, or not do that behavior, whatever it is that's standing in your way. So, day 2 for me.
Alright, I've arrived at morning number 3. No cigarettes, no tobacco of any kind, no nicotine, drug, assistance. It's going out of my system. It's not all the way out of my system yet, but I can feel it. It's going away. Getting my senses of smell back, getting my sense of taste back, getting my sense of a lot of senses. I can feel stuff in my skin that I couldn't feel a couple of days ago. I don't know if it's just the, you know, the DTs and stuff screwing with me, but I feel really energized. This morning ran down and up the coulee several times. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really good without that smoke. So my advice so far, you know, what I've learned is what I think I knew it from the start. Just in your mind, you have to have already quit, and then all you do is you just act that out. You just live it. You just do what you need to do, and it sucks to go through that physiological, you know, addiction stuff, to suffer through that, but just go ahead and suffer through it, you know, and get it done. Yeah, so that's what it takes. I'm on day 3, and pretty sure I'm going to be reporting on a day 4. Absolutely sure. I'm not going to let myself break down, and I got no reason to. I don't even feel more than the slightest interest at this point. So pretty soon that'll go too. Bring it on.